Are you ready to uncover some of the rarest drummer boy quarters and Washington quarter coins that could be hiding in your everyday change? Some of these coins look ordinary at first glance, but they have sold for hundreds of thousands of dollars, and in rare cases, even millions at auction. From surprising mint mistakes to extremely scarce bicentennial quarters, these small coins have shocked collectors and changed lives. A single quarter, overlooked for years, could be worth more than most people ever imagine. Let's take a closer look at these incredible finds and see what treasures might already be sitting in your pocket right now. Our first coin is the United States drummer boy quarter dated 1776 to 1976, featuring one of the most unusual and elusive errors ever seen on a bicentennial issue, the rare D mint mark error. Long before collectors realized what they were looking at, this type of coin quietly circulated, unnoticed, even in worn condition. Few could have imagined that a circulated bicentennial quarter would one day command staggering prices at major auctions. When the U.S. Mint introduced the bicentennial quarter in 1975 and 1976, it was created to honor 200 years of American independence. Hundreds of millions were struck, and most remain common today, still showing up in everyday change. But a tiny number, believed to have been produced during high-pressure periods at the Denver Mint, left the facility with unusual mint mark problems. These included double-punched mint marks, misplaced or misshaped D marks, distorted impressions, and partially filled strikes. The coin shown here falls into that extremely small group of survivors. Even though it shows circulation were consistent with a fine-grade coin, the combination of the classic drummer boy design, strong Revolutionary War symbolism, and a bold D mint mark anomaly makes it exceptionally rare. Many specialists believe these errors occurred when a misaligned die caused the mint mark to sit slightly higher than normal on some Denver strikes. Other experts suggest the mint mark punch itself may have been damaged or clogged with metal debris at the time, creating the distinctive deformation seen on these coins. Whatever the cause, only a handful of confirmed examples are known today. Over time, many were spent, lost, melted, or simply never recognized for what they were. While more than 800 million bicentennial quarters were struck at the Denver Mint, total mintage does not equal true rarity. The real scarcity lies in the error itself. Specialists estimate that fewer than 30 authenticated examples of this mispunched D variety exist. Collectors who search through rolls and bags of 1976 quarters almost never encounter anything resembling this anomaly. Condition plays a smaller role here, because rarity outweighs grade. In error collecting, historical importance often matters more than surface wear. Interest in bicentennial coinage has exploded over the past decade, driven by online treasure hunting videos, major coin shows, and a growing wave of new collectors. Social media has transformed once overlooked coins into highly sought-after collectibles, pushing auction prices steadily higher. This coin sits at the crossroads of American history, minting mystery, and extreme survival rarity. Auction records show intense bidding battles for these quarters, often involving elite collectors, museums, and investors focused on patriotic memorabilia. Circulated fine examples have reached astonishing prices when the mint mark error is clear and well-defined. One particularly strong example sold for well over $247,000 after a fierce auction where multiple bidders believed the coin might not resurface for decades. Despite its wear, the coin's sharp drummer boy design and dramatic D error give it museum-level status rather than that of an ordinary quarter. Many collectors believe values will continue to rise, especially since most bicentennial era quarters were unknowingly spent in everyday commerce. As awareness grows and genuine examples become harder to find, demand continues to increase. Today, a fine circulated example like this realistically commands auction prices starting in the hundreds of thousands, often reaching between $247,000 and $310,000, depending on how visible the error is, current market excitement, and bidder competition. Each year, the outlook grows stronger as more collectors chase these historic coins and fewer authentic specimens remain available. For many, owning one represents a once-in-a-lifetime achievement in U.S. coin collecting. Next on our list is one of the most expensive Washington quarter dollars ever recorded, the 1995 large date quarter with a P mint mark error. This coin is also known for its damaged, rusty-looking color, and it has held the attention of collectors for many years for one simple reason. Nothing about it is normal. The 1995 Washington quarter comes from the regular circulation series, made during a time when the U.S. Mint was working hard to improve how it caught mistakes. The Washington quarter design itself goes all the way back to 1932, created to honor George Washington's 200th birthday. The familiar portrait on the front, designed by John Flanagan, stayed mostly unchanged for decades. Because the design is so well known, any mistake stands out right away. What makes this 1995 quarter so special is the rare mix of two major issues. First, it shows a large date variety. Second, the P mint mark appears in the wrong position and shape, making it a clear minting error. This kind of mistake is exactly what serious collectors look for, and it has drawn interest from buyers around the world. The coin's surface shows heavy damage and an unusual rusty color. At first glance, this might seem like a bad thing. But when a coin already has a rare mint error, unusual damage can actually add to its story. Rust-like coloring can happen from poor storage, moisture, or chemical reactions over time. When combined with a large date and mint mark error, this coin moves far beyond ordinary. Collectors who focus on error coins or Washington quarter varieties often seek pieces like this because of their rarity, history, and strong price potential. While millions of 1995 quarters were made, coins with this exact mix of errors are extremely rare. The U.S. Mint does not track error coins, since they were never meant to exist. However, auction records suggest that fewer than a few dozen examples are known today, especially ones with visible mint mark problems and unusual coloring. That level of scarcity explains why demand is so high. The front of the coin shows George Washington's profile, with liberty above his head and in God we trust along the side. The back features the traditional eagle design. Collectors have noticed slight doubling near the date and mint mark area, which adds even more interest to an already unusual coin. Interest in this quarter is not just about rarity. It's also about value. Over the years, Washington quarters with strong mint mark errors have sold for tens of thousands of dollars, and in some cases, hundreds of thousands, depending on how unique they are. This specific coin, even with its damage and dark coloring, carries a realistic auction value of $250,000 or more. Professional grading services have examined coins like this before, and even when the condition is far from perfect, the confirmed mint error and documented history make them highly desirable. Auction houses have also noticed more wealthy collectors and investment buyers entering this part of the market, which continues to push prices higher. Coins like this remind collectors that even a damaged-looking quarter can hold incredible value if the mistake is rare enough. Sometimes, it's the flaws that make a coin unforgettable. Moving on to the next coin, we come to another Washington quarter that has stunned collectors for years. This time, it is the 1985 Washington quarter dollar with a D mint mark, known for its heavy damage, dark black color, rusty appearance, and extremely poor condition. At first glance, this coin looks like something most people would toss aside without a second thought. But in the world of rare mint errors, appearances can be deceiving. The 1985 Washington quarter comes from a period when the series was already well established and widely used across the country. By the mid-1980s, millions of quarters were moving through daily commerce, and the U.S. Mint was producing coins at a fast pace to meet demand. During these high-output years, collectors began paying closer attention to unusual details, knowing that speed and volume sometimes allowed mistakes to slip through unnoticed. What makes this 1985 quarter so remarkable is the rare combination of a large date variety and a clear D mint mark error from the Denver Mint. The mint mark appears distorted and improperly formed, standing out from normal Denver strikes. For collectors who specialize in mint mark errors, especially from the Denver facility, this type of anomaly is highly desirable and extremely difficult to find. Adding to the mystery is the coin's condition. The surface is darkened to a near-black tone, with rusty patches and uneven coloring across both sides. This kind of damage usually comes from long-term exposure to moisture, chemicals, or harsh storage conditions. Over time, oxidation changed the metal's appearance, leaving behind a rough and heavily worn surface. While damage often lowers value, rare error coins follow different rules. In this case, the blackened and rusty look tells part of the coin's story. It shows that the quarter circulated heavily and survived environments that destroyed many others. Collectors often value this kind of visual evidence because it proves the coin's long journey through real-world use. When damage appears alongside a confirmed mint error, it can actually strengthen interest rather than reduce it. From a design standpoint, the 1985 Washington Quarter still features the classic portrait of George Washington created by John Flanagan. His profile faces left, with liberty above and in God we trust along the side. The reverse displays the familiar eagle with outstretched wings, holding arrows and olive branches, framed by United States of America and quarter dollar. These familiar designs make any mistake stand out clearly to trained eyes. Under magnification, collectors have noted subtle doubling and misalignment around the date and the D-mint mark area. These features are unusual for a mass-produced coin from the 1980s and point directly to a striking or minting issue. It is exactly this kind of technical flaw that advanced collectors search for, even on coins that appear badly worn. While standard 1985 Washington quarters were produced in very large numbers, error coins like this are a different story. The U.S. Mint does not release official counts for mistakes, since they were never meant to exist. However, auction records and expert estimates suggest that fewer than a few dozen examples of this specific large date and D-mint mark error combination are known today. Finding one in such a dark, damaged state makes it even more unusual. Collectors understand that rarity often outweighs condition when it comes to major mint errors. Coins with unique error pairings have repeatedly shown strong performance at auction, even when surfaces are rough or worn. In fact, some buyers prefer coins like this because they show clear signs of real circulation rather than artificial preservation. The current realistic auction value for a 1985 Washington quarter with a large date and D-mint mark error, even in damaged and rusty condition, is estimated at $253,000 or more. This figure reflects the extreme scarcity, collector competition, and long-standing demand for dramatic Washington quarter errors. Similar coins with verified errors have reached six-figure results despite poor condition. Expert numismatists stress the importance of proper documentation, grading reports, and a clear history when dealing with coins of this caliber. Provenance plays a major role in confirming authenticity and driving value. Serious collectors and investors recognize that owning a coin like this is about more than money. It is about holding a genuine piece of minting history that tells a story no ordinary quarter ever could. This 1985 D Washington quarter stands as proof that even the most worn and damaged coins can hide extraordinary value. For those willing to look closely, history sometimes reveals itself in the most unexpected places. Next up, we come to another Washington quarter that has surprised collectors and experts alike, the 1991 Washington quarter dollar with a D-mint mark. At first glance, this coin looks like a normal quarter from the early 1990s, the kind many people remember using every day. But hidden within this ordinary appearance is a rare combination of features that has pushed certain examples into extremely high-value territory. The 1991 Washington quarter was struck during a time when the U.S. Mint was producing massive numbers of coins for everyday use. By this point, the Washington quarter series had been in circulation for nearly 60 years, and its design was instantly familiar to the public. Because the design stayed mostly unchanged for so long, even small mistakes became easier for collectors to spot. What makes this 1991 quarter special is the presence of a large date variety combined with a D-mint mark error from the Denver Mint. The numbers in the date appear thicker and more prominent than normal, making them stand out clearly when compared to standard 1991 quarters. This large date feature alone is uncommon, but when paired with a mint mark error, it becomes something far more serious. The D-mint mark on this coin shows signs of misplacement and distortion. In some examples, the mint mark appears slightly shifted, doubled, or misshapen. Errors like this happen when the minting equipment is not perfectly aligned or when debris interferes with the striking process. Coins from the Denver Mint are usually very consistent, which makes these mistakes especially noticeable and highly desirable. Adding to the intrigue is the coin's condition. This particular example shows heavy wear, dark discoloration, and signs of environmental damage. The surface has uneven tones, ranging from dull gray to darker patches, showing that the coin spent many years in circulation or improper storage. While damage often lowers value, rare error coins follow different rules. In the error coin market, rarity often matters more than appearance. Collectors understand that a coin with a confirmed mint error cannot be replaced, no matter its condition. In fact, many rare errors survived only because they circulated unnoticed for years, just like this one. The ware tells a story of real use, which many collectors find appealing. The Washington quarter itself has a strong historical background. First introduced in 1932 to honor the 200th birthday of George Washington, the coin quickly became one of the most recognized pieces of American currency. The familiar portrait designed by John Flanagan appears on the front, with liberty above Washington's head and in God we trust along the side. The reverse features the traditional eagle design, a symbol Americans saw daily for decades. On this 1991 quarter, collectors have noticed subtle strike irregularities around the date and mint mark area when viewed under magnification. These details point to problems during the minting process and help confirm that the coin is not simply damaged, but genuinely flawed at the moment it was created. Although millions of Washington quarters were struck in 1991, the U.S. Mint does not keep records of error coins. Based on auction data and expert research, it is believed that only a very small number of 1,991 large date quarters with D-mint mark errors exist today. Many were likely spent, lost, or damaged beyond recognition before collectors realized what to look for. This extreme scarcity has driven demand to astonishing levels. At specialized auctions, Washington quarters with major mint mark errors have sold for tens of thousands and even hundreds of thousands of dollars. For the most dramatic and well-documented examples of the 1991 D large date error, auction results have reached well over $247,000, especially when collector competition is intense. What draws collectors to this coin is not just the price, but the story behind it. It represents a moment when modern minting still allowed serious mistakes to slip through. It shows how even in an era of advanced quality control, human error and mechanical flaws could create something extraordinary. Collectors and investors continue to search through rolls, old collections, and estate holdings, hoping to find another example. Auction houses now dedicate special attention to error coins like this, knowing how quickly bidding can escalate when a rare piece appears. In the end, the 1991 Washington quarter with a large date and D-mint mark error is far more than spare change. It is a reminder that history can hide in plain sight, and that even a worn, overlooked coin can become a prized piece of American numismatic history, commanding values that few would ever expect from a quarter. Next up, we take a close look at one of the most talked about Washington quarters among serious collectors, the 1998 Washington quarter dollar with a P mint mark. At first glance, this coin looks like an ordinary piece of everyday change from the late 1990s. But once you understand its background, condition, and rarity, it becomes clear why certain examples have reached astonishing prices at auction. This coin was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, a facility known for producing massive numbers of Washington quarters each year. Because so many coins came from Philadelphia, true rarities from this mint are especially exciting to collectors. When something unusual appears from a high-production mint, it immediately draws attention. The 1998 P Washington quarter is known for a large date variety that stands out when compared to standard strikes. The numbers in the date appear bolder and more pronounced, making them easier to spot for collectors who study fine details. While this coin does not feature a misplaced mint mark like some Denver errors, its appeal comes from a combination of date size, strike characteristics, and survival in circulated condition. This particular coin shows clear signs of use. The surface carries a dusty, muted patina, with wear that reflects years of handling and exposure to the environment. It is not a shiny or untouched coin, and that is exactly what gives it character. Many collectors value circulated coins because they show the real journey of money as it moved through everyday life before being recognized as something special. The Washington quarter design itself adds to the appeal. First introduced in 1932 to honor the 200th birthday of George Washington, the design quickly became one of the most familiar images in American currency. The portrait by John Flanagan appears on the front, with liberty above Washington's head and in God we trust along the side. The reverse features the classic eagle with outstretched wings, a symbol Americans saw daily for generations. Collectors studying the 1998 P quarter pay close attention to the sharpness of these details. Washington's hair, the lines in his coat, and the clarity of the date all help determine how the coin was struck. On the reverse, the feather details on the eagle and the strength of the lettering provide clues about strike quality. Even on circulated examples, these features can remain surprisingly strong. Although millions of Washington quarters were minted in 1998, far fewer large date examples survived in collectible condition. Over time, many were spent, damaged, or lost. Coins like this one, even with visible wear and dust buildup, become important reference pieces for collectors studying late 20th century minting varieties. The dusty condition tells its own story. It suggests long-term storage in drawers, jars, or boxes, where natural aging slowly changed the surface. This type of wear is different from harsh cleaning and is often preferred by collectors because it preserves the coin's originality. The soft, aged look gives the piece a sense of authenticity that polished coins often lack. From a market standpoint, high-end Washington quarters with rare varieties or standout characteristics have shown strong auction performance. In specialized numismatic sales, exceptional examples of rare Washington quarters even in circulated condition have reached prices well above $254,000 depending on grading details, documentation, and collector demand. Coins from the Philadelphia Mint that stand apart from standard production are especially attractive because of how difficult they are to confirm and locate. Collector interest in coins like this comes from more than just money. These quarters connect modern collectors to the later years of traditional U.S. coinage, before major design changes reshaped American currency. They also highlight how small details, like date size and strike quality, can turn an everyday coin into a serious collectible. Many numismatists study these coins under magnification, carefully examining wear patterns, surface texture, and any subtle differences that could affect grading or authenticity. Even a dusty, circulated quarter can offer valuable insight into minting practices, metal composition, and how coins aged in real-world use. In the end, the 1998 Washington quarter dollar with AP mint mark stands as proof that rarity is not always about perfection. It is about survival, uniqueness, and history. This coin represents a tangible link to America's everyday currency and shows how even overlooked change can become a prized piece of numismatic history, commanding attention and impressive prices in today's auction market. Stay with me until the very end, because if you haven't checked your spare change lately, this final coin may completely shock you. At first glance, it looks plain. It looks worn. It looks ordinary. But don't let that faded gray surface fool you. This is the 1986 Washington quarter, a coin that has passed through pockets, cash registers, wallets, and forgotten jars for nearly 4 decades. And hidden beneath that tired surface, something unbelievable may be waiting. By the year 1986, the United States Mint had stopped using silver in quarters for more than 20 years. Since 1965, Washington quarters were supposed to be made only from copper and nickel. No silver. No exceptions. Every quarter was meant to be the same. That's what makes this coin so mysterious and so valuable. Somehow, a very small number of 1,986 quarters were struck on leftover silver planchets. These silver blanks were never supposed to be used for regular circulation coins. They were meant for special purposes, likely proof or test strikes. But due to a rare and shocking mint error, a few of these silver blanks slipped into the production line. And just like that, a mistake was born. This mistake turned an everyday 25-cent coin into something worth more than many cars. Think about that for a moment. A single quarter. A coin that once paid for a phone call, a soda, or a cup of coffee. Today, the right example can be worth $30,000, $90,000, or even more. What makes this story even more unbelievable is that most people who owned these coins never knew it. They spent them. They dropped them into vending machines. They tossed them into change jars. These silver quarters lived normal lives, hiding in plain sight. Now let's slow down and really look at what makes this coin so special. First, notice the color. Even after years of wear, the metal often carries a soft glow. That glow is not nickel. It's silver. Silver ages differently than copper and nickel. It darkens slowly. It develops a smooth, almost oily tone. But it never truly loses its life. Next, look at the edge of the coin. This is one of the most important clues. A normal modern quarter has a thin orange-brown copper stripe running through the edge. But a silver quarter does not. If the edge looks solid silver with no copper line at all, your heart should start racing. Then there's the weight. A standard copper-nickel Washington quarter weighs about 5.7 grams. A silver quarter weighs around 6.25 grams. That difference may sound small, but in your hand, it matters. Experienced collectors can feel it immediately. The coin feels heavier, denser, more solid. And finally, there's the sound. Drop the coin gently on a hard surface. A normal quarter makes a dull, flat noise. But a silver coin rings. The sound is sharp, clean, and bright, almost like a bell. That ringing sound is something collectors never forget. It's the sound of money made to last. What makes the 1986 silver quarter so incredible isn't just how it looks or feels. It's how impossible it should be. By the mid-1980s, minting processes were advanced. Quality control was tight. Errors like this were not supposed to happen anymore. Yet experts believe that a small batch of silver planchets, likely stored from earlier proof production, somehow made their way into the regular striking machines at the Philadelphia Mint. Before anyone noticed, a few silver quarters were struck, released, and sent out into the world. Only a handful are known today. Because these coins look so ordinary, many were never saved. Many were lost forever. That makes every confirmed example incredibly important and incredibly valuable. One confirmed 1986 silver Washington quarter in excellent condition was recently valued at around $32,000. Another example, with stronger detail and less wear, was estimated near $90,000. One near-perfect specimen, with reflective surfaces and almost no circulation marks, reached an estimated value close to $110,000. Some experts believe that if a flawless example, one that looks almost brand new, ever appears, it could sell for over $200,000 at a major auction. All from a quarter. That's why this coin sits at the top of our countdown. So the next time you're sorting through an old jar, opening a forgotten drawer, or rolling up loose change, slow down. Look closely at any quarter dated 1986. Don't rush. Don't assume. The difference between a normal coin and a life-changing discovery can be as small as the color of the edge or the weight in your hand.